And I'm Jay.
This is Chris, man.
And we outside the quarter today with a songwriter from South Carolina by way of New York, man. Goes by the name of TJ Poison Pen.
Poison Pen.
So tell us a little bit. Well, first, appreciate you for having us.
My props about it. They was like, yeah, you did. You said you wanted to be in that class, and you got it. That's what I really wanted, so I got it.
Okay, so after the music class,
yeah,
you was in there. You know what I'm saying? When did you realize at the point that you wasn't no Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye voice? You know what I'm saying? You said, I can't just sit here in this, what do you call it, the Kentucky
I think
Fried?
You said that before the singing class. He's like, I know I couldn't sing.
No, I'm talking about like when you realize, like, all right, I can't no longer fake the funk no more. I got to figure out what can I do to contribute to music. You know what I mean? Like, your point of view, your input.
Yeah, well, I kept on with the class because, like, in between the little breaks and stuff, everybody be like, like, harmonizing different stuff on the radio. That's when D'Angelo came out. I'm telling my age now. That's when D'Angelo came out.
Kids go ahead and use that Google.
Faith Evans was out and everything. Boyz II Men, Water Runs Dry was out. John B. And so we would play our own little music during the breaks we had in chorus. And then it was like, dang, we stole these songs. But then a young lady in class, Dahlia Nelson, she was like, hey, my sister has a singing group and they need songs. And I'm like, oh, word. And I'm like, I don't write songs. I write poems. She's like, well, if you write poems, you write songs.
Pretty much you write songs, yeah.
So I was like, word. So I went home that night and I actually wrote a song, but I had no music or nothing to it. I just had the melody, and that was it. And then I presented it to her, and she liked it and everything. But it's like they had to find, I guess, somebody to kind of come in and produce it, whatever. But it kind of fell by the wayside. And I think they put out a project with some other stuff on it. But that's how I got into songwriting. Pretty much.
Cool. That's great. So I guess the better question is, how did the name come about?
Poison Pen?
Yeah.
Well, I got to give credit to my sister Zenobia Carter. She actually is she's in the music business. She actually did management consulting and stuff like that. And then she kept saying, we would go to the studio and we work with different artists in South Carolina at the time. And she was like, you know what? Yeah, you got, she's like, yeah, that's a Poison Pen. You got that Poison Pen. So the name stuck, but she gave me that name, Poison Pen. So
it's crazy because nicknames stick with you. You know what I'm saying? Like if I go home, I'm Booty Boo. So exactly. So I'm used to that. That's cool, man. Yeah. So what are you doing now? Fast forward, 2018. What are you doing now with it? Like the whole songwriting, Mr. Poison Pen. Mr. Poison Pen is our address.
Right now, man, I really want to take things to just higher new levels. Right now, I'm working with a lot of independent artists. A lot of independent artists have actually reached out to me about working. And the thing is, though, I thought that the process was, you could sing, you could do this, you could do that. You need to get a record deal and that, whatever. But, a producer a while ago, this was like way back in the day. He told me, he was like, hey, I'm telling you, in the future, it's going to be, a lot independent is going to be the way to go. Indie is going to be the way to go. And I was like, nah, man. I was like, you could be independent, but you still going to need a distributor.
This was back in the 90s, dude, call that?
This was back in early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Okay. He was like, indie's going to be the way to go. And I was like, oh, well, they need to get signed to a major label, this and that. He was like, no, I'm telling you, indie is going to be the thing. And fast forward now, indie is the thing. There's a lot of indie artists that are thriving.
Who are some of the artists that? Sorry for cutting you off, but who are some of the artists that you work with who you enjoy writing for and stuff? So,
man, I like writing for. There's a young lady named Ryan Atkins. I like writing for her. She was actually featured one time on Love and Hip Hop New York, and her manager hit me up and was like, hey, I'm working with Ryan, and I want you to be a part of the project. I'm like, and I was like, at first I was like, okay, I'm like, okay, it's cool, whatever. But I forgot because I was actually doing something else at the time, like working in the studio with somebody else. Then she called. She was like, hey, did you hear? Did my manager hit you up? Because I want to work with you. And I was like, word. I'm like, okay, yeah. I was like, cool. So I just wanted to just kind of I guess. I didn't have that focus yet, but then next thing you know, I started working with her, and she flew down here to Atlanta. We started working together. We really clicked and everything. But yeah, I enjoy working with her, Ryan Atkins.
Anybody else you enjoy working with?
Yeah, I enjoy working with. There's a young lady named Agent Nicole. I enjoy working with her as well. Okay. And she's more like pop. She's more pop oriented, pretty much,
Okay.
music wise and everything. I enjoy working with her too. She's a young artist, 18, about 18. Yeah, she'll be 19, but she's 18 years old, and she just has like so the young nation is just crazy. Like with young, what I'm saying, the younger generation, everything like that. That young. So
see, you know what's pondering in my mind? Like I know how like artists they come up with the song usually through their head and through their experiences and like distributing it that way. Mm-hmm. As a songwriter, do you ever put yourself in their shoes and try to feel their emotions and then you just write it? Like you're like a third person looking out, like outside looking in, or do you like literally talk to them about the situation before at hand and then you write?
Well, I actually sometimes they'll come up with something that they may want to actually like a topic or something they want to actually talk about. Mm-hmm. I know with some artists they'll just say, well, you know what, just write about we just want something hot. They just want something like that's a single, catchy that's gonna be on the radio and stuff like that. Nine times out of 10 they don't say catchy, but I know exactly what they mean. They really want a hit. So what I try to do is deliver a hit pretty much. So, but I do have a couple artists that actually know what they want to talk about. They actually tell me, saying it's about, we want to talk about, saying like either love or betrayal or, party song and stuff like that. They want to do that, club,
So you diverse with it, basically?
Yeah, I try to be as diverse as I can.
So you write like rap lyrics too, from time to time?
And you know what? That's so funny you say that, man. I kind of do, but I don't do it as often because I had to write a rap for a young lady back in South Carolina. These young ladies were coming out with this single, and I had to write her rap. And which was so weird, whatever, she wasn't a rapper, but she was a singer. And I had to actually come up with her rap and everything. So I did that. And then somebody else I wrote a rap for. But I feel that there's more people who are more nicer than me with the metaphors and everything as far as rap is concerned. Mm-hmm. So that's not really my lane. I stay in my lane.
Honestly,
with that,
man, in my opinion, I like when certain artists step out their element to challenge themselves, and even certain songwriters. It's interesting. Yeah. Like Neo did the what's the remix he did one time? Millie. He said normally I don't do this. I don't know if people heard it, but he killed it. So I think it's dope. Some artists, from time to time.
A better one would probably be R. Kelly. Because he let us know, and we all of us know.
Well, I think I'm talking about from a fun element.
You know what I'm talking about?
Neo was having fun with his though. It was fun.
R. Kelly was. Oh man, he said usually I don't do this, but everybody know that song. Soon as that song come on, everybody know it's the remix to it. They know that's Chaos, and he ain't never been on the remix since. Yeah, he ain't rock braid since.
So I think it's dope. I got you, but I think it's dope when artists do that though, challenge themselves. So that's cool. Definitely for him.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a dope thing. Challenge yourself.
Do you like challenges, or do you like to stay in your comfort zone?
I do like challenges because sometimes you do hit a deadline where you have to actually deliver a certain song or something by this time and that time, and then also too, someone would just kind of just give you, okay, well, yeah, we want something like like this song or something like that song. So it's like, okay, I got to come up with a song that kind of sounds like it, but it's not that song. It's something maybe similar. It's not sounding like it at all, but it's just something like kind of like on the vein of what I'm saying, this type of thing. Like sometimes they'll want a club record, and they'll be like, okay, well, I want it to sound like this club record, whatever. And so you got to actually try to see, okay, well, how can I make it fit into that particular style of music? So I just pretty much just go from there.
Have you ever wrote a whole album before for anybody?
Whole album?
Curious, yeah.
Not yet.
Getting there?
Not yet. I would love to do that because I remember
that would be crazy to write a whole album and then it's just like, what if that joint go platinum?
Who would you write a whole album for? Is a better question.
Who would I write it for?
Crazy.
Man, I would love to write a whole album for I would say Mary J. Blige.
Okay.
And I would love to write a whole album for who else would it be? Trying to name maybe matter of fact, I would love to write a whole album for either Mary J. Blige. I would say Beyonce. She's dope. And also to, matter of fact, Bruno Mars. I would love to write.
I was gonna say because I felt like that was somebody on the cusp because I mean you said Michael Jackson earlier and like to me I know this is weird. I always thought Chris Brown was going to be that lane of Michael Jackson, but I noticed that Bruno Mars got that light. I still think that Chris Brown's a way better artist. That's my personal
Chris
opinion.
Brown is dope.
But, you know, that whole situation, that's what held him back. Bruno Mars, that's what made him crescendo. And I felt like that would be more of your alley. Like, somebody like that that's well-rounded. Like, how you said, you diversify with the topics that you have. That would be something perfect for you, man. But,
so back to the songwriting thing. Why does it like? Because a couple of artists you name are actually songwriters or wrote hits. Bruno Mars, songwriter. Neil's a songwriter.
Yeah,
talked about him. But why is it that a lot of songwriters don't get the recognition they deserve or like get a lot of credit?
Well, it just depends on this is just my opinion. Songwriters may not get the credit is because sometimes it may be just the artist may be just really the forefront, and they may not get, you know, because I know nowadays, because I know back I'd say even back in like the 90s, early 2000s, you would get a CD. The CD would have a booklet. The booklet has all the credits in there. That's how I found out about a lot of people. That's how I found about
back in the day. That's how you had
Tim Mars' husband, Vincent Herbert. That's how I found out about him, because he was working on Tony Braxton's first project. That's how I found out about him. I found out about I really found out about Babyface as well. I found that Elliot Reed and Babyface wrote all those hits. You know what I'm saying, for so many artists.
I didn't know that
you know,
Babyface. I found out from my best friend that Babyface was writing a lot of hits for folks.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
You think it also has something to do with maybe it could curb the marketing? You think it's a marketing thing maybe?
No, not really, because nowadays I think depending on the song, I think the songwriter will get credit as far as writing for the artist. But nowadays, the artists, a lot of artists are co-writers. So sometimes the artists may get a lot of the, the majority of the shine.
Okay, I got you.
It's actually smart when the artist is
it makes sense.
That definitely makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That kind of robs y'all of y'all's glory too, because sometimes the artist could be like, say 2 words, and you got the whole paragraph, monologue, all of that. You know what I mean?
So not trying to discuss personal figures, but just give us like an example of ballpark range. Say like when like how y'all mentioned, a co-writing. Say how's it broken down to distribute it? Like the money wise, say if you got a song, just for example, it does numbers. I'm saying, how would the funds be distributed?
Yeah,
between the songwriter, the artist, how does that work?
Yeah. Well, pretty much whoever's on the song, they get a percentage. And say you have, say as a co-write on the song, you break it down, because I think with ASCAP it's 50% for the writer, 50% for the publisher, whatever. So you would get, like, say for instance, like 50% of the writer's share, but if you have co-writers, you guys are actually, we split it up. So like say for instance, like if I write like 25-30% of the song, I get that 30%, and then whoever wrote the rest, pretty much they kind of go by, because sometimes you can split it up, but then sometimes you just negotiate
a deal.
A deal of like how much you want for this, how much you want for that. Like, oh, I wrote the bridge for this song. Okay, well, so I want to get 10% for the bridge. Or I wrote the verse. I want to get maybe 15%. For the verse. And then too, maybe like if you wrote the hook, you may want to get 20%, 25% for the hook. So everybody just kind of just breaks it down. So pretty smart.
Okay, cool. I was always wondering, like,
how things broke down.
Because a lot I've seen like artists like look at like I go to Google or whatever and look at certain artists that wrote certain songs. I'm like looking at all the songwriters or something. I was wondering. So another question for you, man. How in your mind or your opinion, what you think is your best song you wrote so far? Like the biggest song to you?
The biggest song
that you wrote so far? Yeah.
Man, tell you the truth, I don't think I wrote my biggest song yet. I don't think I wrote the biggest song yet.
What's holding you back from it?
I haven't. Well, I believe the right artist in the right timing. I know everything is in God's time, so I can't wait for that day. And it should be soon where I write my my best song. So
if you write one for me, I'll sing for you. I'm just playing, man.
It's crazy.
How you doing? This is TJ Poison Pen, the songwriter, and you are watching Outside the Quad.